This is Chem 101. Chem 101, right? Now, Chem 101 is generally an introduction and preparation for Chem 105, which is a class you would take if you're going to major in something sciencey, right? Chem 101 often gets used as kind of a Chem 100, where I'm not a science major, I just need a science class to fulfill some sort of whatever, and that's fine. That's fine. So if you're here for that, that's fine. If there are other Chem 100 classes, you might want to look into them. I don't know. My Chem 100 class is significantly easier than my Chem 101 class. It might not be the case from professor to professor. So I don't even know if they're teaching Chem 100. I think there's a couple of sections, but I don't know who's teaching. Anyway, this is a class in which we're preparing to take Chem 105 as a science major. So you get into the nitty-gritty, and we try to prepare students well. What we would see in the past, we didn't used to have Chem 101, we just have Chem 105, and some students wouldn't pass. And so they would take it a second time, and they wouldn't pass the second time. And so we began to recognize it wasn't just an increased amount of exposure to the material. There had to be something else happening to improve the ability, or the learning, or help these people who were not passing 2 times in a row. And I think that we've found a little bit of a solution here. What we've done is Chem 100 is formulated in such a way. Does everybody have a syllabus now? Are there any extras around? It's formulated in such a way that there's an emphasis on the fundamentals. Okay? For example, we give credit for showing up, right? Attendance. So when you come, you get points. Well, there's a certain amount of points you get, and you're going to keep all those points unless you miss days. If you miss days, then you start losing. And you can see that on the first page down there. It says for your first 2 absences, you lose 10 points. Every absence past that, you'll lose 25 points. So that's a significant amount of points. So, you know, if you miss 4 class periods, you'd be missing a significant amount of those points. Probably a bad idea. And I think in general, there should be a relationship between your commitment to a class and your ability to perform it. I mean, if a class is such that you don't have to go and you'll still get a good grade, then don't go, right? I mean, why would you need to do that, right? There's a problem with the setup there. But in chemistry, we've seen a relationship between how well people do in the course and attendance. I should note that when I say we see a relationship between how well people do in the course, one of the great things about teaching chemistry is that there's something called the American Chemical Society, and it has standardized exams. And we have a handful of those standardized exams, and we use them for our exams, and we take one for the final in this class. So your score on that is comparable to everybody in the world, because it's not just we go to the American Chemical Society, it's an international recognized society. And these exams will let you know how you did compared to the rest of the world, essentially. All right? And collectively, as a class, we can see how scores go up and down based on different changes that we make. So we've seen, for example, when people don't attend, that our class scores average are lower, right? So, homework in this class. There's going to be homework, and some people, when they critique the class at the end, they say, there wasn't any homework, there should be more homework so we know how we're doing. To me, it's homework, but the homework manifests itself. You show that you've done your homework by taking a quiz about the homework when you're done doing the homework, all right? So maybe some people don't recognize that as homework. To me, that's homework, because the quiz will indicate to me whether or not you understood the homework. If you do your homework, you should be able to do okay on the quiz. Now, there's a disconnect in there, right? Have anybody ever seen that movie, TV show? It's about people who get up there and try to show how good they are, talented they are at singing. And they sing in front of the judges, right? And the judges either give an X or say, yeah, you did so good. What are the names of those shows? Like 1,000 of them, right? And as an audience, when we're watching, we're always shocked when somebody gets up there and just and sings horribly. And we're like, what? Did you really think that you were singing good? Right? There was a disconnect between their ability to know and even hear their own voice singing. Right? And have you guys seen that on TV and YouTube and stuff? It's all over the place. A lot of times that happens in chemistry class, which shouldn't be surprising. If we can do it with singing, something that is so audibly, obviously problematic in some scenarios, it shouldn't be surprising that if you don't do well on tests, it might not be, I'm just not good at taking tests. I'm good at writing and not math type stuff. It might be that you haven't committed the amount of time and effort that you need to master the material. All right? So don't sell yourself short and say, I'm just not good at this. Because surprise, you can be good at absolutely anything you want to be. Right? Some things take more effort. You're not going to get paid for something that's not work. Because if it's fun to do, people will do it for free. Right? So the homework and the quizzes should indicate how well you're progressing. Okay? So how does the homework work? Well, on the third page here, it tells you the quiz that you have to take, showing that you did your homework. Right? And the first quiz will need to be taken before the next class period, which is Friday at 2 o'clock. Right? Is that right? So Friday at 2 o'clock, before that, so usually I close it about Friday at 1, there's going to be a test, or a quiz, sorry, on your homework that you should have done. Let's see what is the Did anybody get to look at the Canvas page yet? Not what you needed to. Okay? So this is what our Canvas page looks like. All right? And on here, there is a spot for quizzes. You click on quizzes, and hopefully, for you, you'll just see the one that's available. And it's a quiz on 1.30 to 1.36, and those are problems 1.30 to 1.36. And those can be found in the back of the book, okay? Not the back of the book, the back of the chapter in the book. So if I turn to the back of chapter 1, the first page is here, in this little blue section, these problems here, are review questions. We never answer anything associated with the review questions. I won't spend any time there. But here are your review problems, and they're numbered starting with 130, 131, 132, 133, and so forth. And what does it say the quiz is going to be on? 130 to 136. Okay? And now, the quiz is always on the blue problems from the back of the book. So 130, 132, 134, and 136. So that's 4 problems, all right? 4 problems that we should become very familiar with and understand very well. And once we have that understanding, then we go and show that we understood what was going on by taking the quiz, right? Then you go into the quiz, you push the button, and it'll come up here, and you take the quiz. It's a timed quiz, so that it's not a smart idea to open the quiz and then thumb through the book and figure out the answers. You can have it open and see if that helps, but the timing of it will make you kind of anxious, and you'll have to kind of know your material before you take the quiz. All right? The blue problems, at least the problems that you're going to focus on, have answers in the back of the book. All right? So you look at the problems, and you try to answer the problems, and then when you're confident you have an answer, you look at the back. All right? And hopefully you don't get tricked into just saying, oh yeah, the answer is 3. Oh, it's 4? Oh, okay, I got it. And then moving on. All right? So don't ruin the surprise by just saying I'm in a hurry. Because you won't collect the information, you won't do good on the quiz, and then that portion, you'll just kind of forget about, and you won't be able to build your beautiful castle that you're trying to build. These are all fundamental issues, or fundamental concepts that you need to understand. Now, if you're working on trying to do your homework and be prepared for the quiz, but you just can't get it, can't figure out how to do the problems, then I would suggest you go to the tutors, all right? The tutors should be available. I don't know if they'll be available today, but late afternoon into the evenings, down at the end of this hallway on the right, or maybe in this room. I'm not sure exactly how we're going to do it. But somewhere along these 2 or 3 doors along this hallway is where the chemistry tutors will be. Okay? If you're not into that sort of thing, then another tool that you have here on the home page of your Canvas page is videos of people solving the problems. So this is a video of myself solving problems. All right. So up in the right-hand corner, I usually have I try to keep the number of the problem that we're solving. So if you're not interested in that number, you go ahead until you find out the number that you're interested in, right? And then that will save some time to listen to me solve the problem. That might help a little bit. Okay? So these are the things that we've seen in relationships. People who go to the tutors, there should be a relationship there to how well you perform on the ACS exams. People who come to my office hours, that's another tool available to you. So I'm in my office 9 to 10, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And if you can catch me there anytime, then I'll generally sit down with you and we can work on problems together. Okay? Another very strong indicator to how well people will do on exams is if they work in pairs or groups, small groups. All right? So, you know, hopefully you guys have come to a point where you recognize that the price, one of the things that you need to pay for to get educated is to open up, to recognize, let other people recognize that you don't know, that you're embarrassed, and that you're willing to learn from other people. All right? If you have a complex where you say, I don't want to talk to anybody else, I don't want anybody else to help me, get over it, because you're not going to be able to learn the things that you need to learn. You'll just be damned down certain pathways if you don't open up and begin to recognize that there's something you need to be able to learn from other people. Okay? All right, yeah.
Can you write the tutor's name or something on the board? Is there a specific tutor?
I don't know their names yet. So it's usually like 3 or 4 people, and they're all hanging out in a room, and you just go in there, and you can ask them questions, but ideally, you just have to sit down in that room, and the tutors will come sit by you
Okay.
and say, what are you working on?
And did you say, sorry if I missed it, did you say if there was a specific schedule?
Yeah, we don't have that yet, but it should usually start about 3 or 4 and go on till 10 o'clock at night. Yeah. And as soon as I get that schedule, I'll let you know. I was trying to figure out, a young lady who was just in here, she said she was going to be a tutor, so we have one of these. And usually, again, 2 or 3, 4 people around. Okay? All right. So what are our resources then? What did we say? How can we know whether we're solving the problems correctly? Well, if we're stuck on a problem, what can we do?
Tutors.
Tutors.
Video.
The video of someone solving it.
Office hours.
Office hours.
Classmates.
Classmates. Now, your classmates, you might not be able to trust them, right? That's okay. You work together anyways. In the book, what do we say? How is this going to be a resource for us?
Answers in the back.
Yeah, the answer's in the back, right? Okay? Now, some of you can even look through the first part of the chapter and figure out how to answer the question. I'm not very good at that. It's there too, right? Now, I should mention to you that, well, so did anybody look for the price of the book in the bookstore? Anybody look? Anybody look at the price of the book anyway? Yeah?
If you get like a rented one, it's like 40% off right now. I know I'm like $14.
Okay. I looked online, and I saw like a bunch for like $5, $1.25, $2.50, whatever. So I've been to many different learning platforms that we use to try to teach chemistry to people. And I don't know, what do you think the most popular learning platform is right now?
Video?
Video is an idea. Like, how do professors say, here's the stuff you have to read and the homework you have to do? Probably done in a library class, I don't know.
Canvas,
What's that?
online Canvas.
Okay, on some sort of a Canvas type thing, where you say, okay, click this, here's the word you read it, and then you answer these questions as you go. I tried 3 different online systems. I tried flipping the class, right? We tried a lot of different things. And because we have such a strong device for measuring how good students are doing, which is the standardized exam, we can really tell whether or not it's making a difference or improving. And, because you go online and you say, online chemistry class, or whatever, this is improved student scores by 70%. It doesn't improve ACS scores by 70%. It improves whatever test they're offering, right? So whatever, people can advertise. It's not a shock that what they're advertising is true. But I don't see that improvement. In fact, I see that students, what they'll tend to do if it's on a computer screen, is they'll tend to copy the question and paste it into Google, and they'll look for the answer, which is fine, well, kind of, but they don't really learn that way, right? And there's something good about knowing that the answer to a certain principle is at a specific spot on the page. And I don't know why that is necessarily. I'm not a curmudgeon. I don't like to carry around heavy books and deal with that. But I'm just for what I've seen allows students to learn chemistry better. All right, and this is what I've seen. So you need to get the book, and you need to work from the book. There are some books on reserve in the library, so you can check them out for hours at a time or whatever, right? Until you get your own book. But don't fight against not getting the book. We keep the book, I keep it really old. This is a super old book. This is the book I started using when we first got here. We started this book, and then we moved on to the next edition, when the next edition came out. And then we were going to move on to the next edition. But we saw that fewer and fewer students would buy the book when we used the new edition, because they're expensive. And all the newer editions came with an online book, so people would just buy that instead. And the scores were going down. It wasn't helping people. And because fewer people were buying the book, we were losing some people completely. So we went back to this model where we keep the price of the book extremely low, and we emphasize that you have to have the book right away and work from it. Okay? And that's where we found most of our success. Now, anybody have any theories as to why that is? I mean, I don't know if it's completely true. I don't know, because there could be a million and one reasons why those years that we tried online platforms that weren't working as well. I don't know. Any ideas why it might be better for our brains to have something tactile in front of us? Yeah.
So we don't have distractions like if we were sit on our device or computer or anything. We're just focused.
Could be. Could be. Any other ideas?
I feel like if it's a paper or a book, I'll have my paper book next to it, right? Whenever I write, I remember better than I read.
Yeah, there's something about people taking notes. In fact, I have these slides that I'll always try to provide for you, because I feel like people who take notes do better. I never take notes very good, so I'm not very good at that. And if I do take notes, I never read them. But I don't even know if that matters. It just seems like if you write it down, the people who write down seem to be smarter than me, right? So I think that there's something there. So I always provide these for you so that you'll be encouraged to take notes as you go along and see if they make that connection. Everybody think of some memory. Think of some great memory that you had, maybe as a kid or whatever. If you can envision that memory in your mind, you know, the time that I made a tuna sandwich, or a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and I went outside with it on my plate, and the dog knocked it over and ate them all up. And I got another one, went outside and the dog did it again. And it was too embarrassed to go out and come off for another peanut butter and jelly, right? You think about that memory. That memory is not just some picture that you can conjure up in your mind. It's actually a set of neurons that are ingrained in your brain, right? And when you think about it, you're sending chemicals, trails down that set of neurons. So it's a physical thing, right? If you get hit in the head with a bat, you'll mess up a bunch of your memory, right? You can't get it back. It's gone. Also, they have found that there are drugs, chemicals, that will inhibit and damage those neurons as they're being lit up. So, for example, they take people who have phobias, like spiders or snakes or something, and they introduce to them a spider, they have them take this little medicine, and then they go home. And they do that for about a month, every couple of days for a month. And after a while, the person will lose the memories that caused that phobia. And they'll be gone. And they'll just interact with the spider and they'll say, I know I used to be really afraid of these, but I can't remember why I was afraid of them. And they just won't happen. And these are people who would just seize up and couldn't even think about holding the spiders and holding the big tarantulas. So memories are actual physical lines of neurons in your mind. And you make them. And there's no surprise that they get changed over time. All the memories that you thought of maybe they were years ago, they're not real. I mean, they've been so manipulated. That's okay. That's the way it happens. But you can do absolutely anything you want to your memory. I mean, if a policeman were to come in here and say, I know you were there, and hound you over and over and over, 5 hours for 7 days straight, eventually you would have a memory of being there even though you weren't there. They've done experiments on that, and that's legitimate stuff. So you need to find ways to make those memories. And I think that this tactile connection, you writing down and working on a problem, is one of the best ways to make a memory. And I wouldn't be terribly surprised about that because, you know, evolutionarily, you know, we've been around or, you know, evolving with paper and pencil probably for more than 10,000 years, and maybe there's not, and maybe that's just a speck in time and you can't make a relationship. But I think that it's possible. I think it's possible. I think that there's an explanation as to why our brains learn better when we have something in front of us and we're touching it and manipulating it with a pencil and writing. So, get a book. Get a book. Are we clear on what kind of homework we need to do? Does everybody understand that? When does the homework, the quiz close? Did you guys catch that? Friday, what time?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock, so an hour before class. And sometimes I let it go 1:30, you know, so it's just a half hour before. But try to bet on about an hour before. It'll tell you the time to close it. Okay? So everybody's got to take that quiz before class. Yeah?
So classes are Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Right.
And we have an assignment every Friday that is covered Monday and Wednesday?
No, you have an assignment that's due every day, every class period, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So after, you can see here, September 6th is the Friday one. And then after that, September 9th, there will be one due on questions 130 to 144. Okay? And that one will be due. And oftentimes, well, let's talk about the BYU Hawaii framework for student learning. Let's bring that up really quick. Have you guys seen this thing here? Who's familiar with this framework for student learning? Anybody? Seen it? One person? Okay. Now this is not new. the idea is emphasized here, but to learn something, there's a cyclic nature, like anything else. And part of the learning process requires you to prepare outside of class before you come to class. So the homework that you'll be doing will sometimes be preparatory. We will not have talked much about it in class. And so you need to do your part of introducing yourself to it, getting questions. If you always understand the questions as best you can and understand the answers, you should be able to do good on the quizzes. Right? When things are really hard concepts, quizzes are really easy. Right? It's an opportunity for you to get exposed to it first. Then, as you're prepared, we come into class and we engage. We go over the material together. I introduce it to you formally. You have questions about it, and you already tried to introduce it to yourself. All right, so there's your prepare and engage. And then class also will do some problems together. We'll work in groups. And then you'll get to have a chance to go home and work on the homework problems. You notice the ones that are due Monday, right? Problems include 130 to 136, right? So it's not just 136 to 144. So there's going to be old problems and new problems, right? So there you have a chance to improve and also further prepare, okay? So this is a pattern that UIUY has emphasized recently, but it's a general pattern of learning. So the problems in the homework sometimes will be new concepts for you, but that's okay. You need to be exposed to it once before you come to class. All right, any other questions about the homework, how the homework's going to work? Okay, let's see, one more thing. There's about 37 homework problems, or about homework sets, right, quizzes, and 6 points each. So that's more than 200 points, but the homework's only out of 200 points. So, there's a little bit of extra credit there, I guess. Most likely you'll miss one here or there, but there's a chance to, there's a little bit of leeway there, right? Exams, 2 exams worth 60 points each. The exams will be difficult, just like the standardized exam is, Standardized American Chemical Society exam. And just in case you are not familiar with what a standardized exam is, standardized exam looks at the score, the number of students that get a specific score. And it ensures that the distribution of scores will be a Gaussian distribution. With a Gaussian distribution like this, you statistically know that your test is working if this Gaussian distribution falls right in the middle, 50%. All right? Statistically, this is necessary. This is how everything happens, right? If I throw a ball at a line, how close I get will be distributed like this. If I look at the height of a person, people in general, the distribution will look like this. How long the light bulb burns before it burns out. All natural distributions will be Gaussian like this, right? If you take a typical exam and you say, we want the kids to feel good, so we're going to make the average 75%, right? There's a chance that your statistical distribution will not reach, or will not be complete, that you'll not be able to see that statistical distribution. So standardized exams are always having an average of about 50%, all right? So the exams will be like that. Your exam scores I expect to be around 50%. But that's okay, because you can see, let's look at a hypothetical situation, grading situation. I don't think there's any reason why people shouldn't be able to come to class. I think that that's part of learning, part of committing, coming to class. So I would say you should be able to get that 250 points pretty good. I would think that from homework, you should probably be able to get 80, 90% of your points. Pretty straightforward. But let's say you did. Let's say you only got 50%. Okay? So this is attendance. This is homework.